Hello, investors. This is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Thursday, June 26th, 4:43 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state, we remain in an uptrend since those subsequent follow-through days. If we take a look at the trend gauge over here, market leaders plentiful right now, green arrow in grow mode. Short term, 44 days above the 21 EMA, and that power trend stays alive. Medium term, trending above the 50-day moving average, and long term, above the 200-day moving average. The QQQ got the golden cross this week, and what that means is when the 50-day gets back above the 200-day moving average, and you have that full bullish alignment. S&P 500, the 50-day still below the 200-day, but starting to get up there and see if we get that golden cross next week or in the coming weeks. So what happened today? Well, it was a trend update and another new all-time high for the Nasdaq. S&P was about 3 points from closing at a new all-time high. So not quite there, but basically. Alrighty, here are the final numbers. 21 over 21 list up 2.15% on the day. 18 green, 1 neutral, 2 red. Turbo 12 up 2.8% on the day. 8 green, 2 neutral, 2 red. Big 8 up 1.23% on the day. RG8 up 1.61% on the day. And then indexes across the board, all green. Good to see Russell 2000 leading today up 1.62, and that is challenging a breakout above the 200-day moving average. 60/40 stock and bond up 0.59%. Flagship portfolio GROTECTION up 1.20%, and then TurboTection up 0.97% on the day. Let's get into the inter-asset correlation, and we'll start with the S&P 500. And can't really be bearish with this chart. Looking phenomenal. Looking to see if we get that golden cross here with the 50-day getting back above the 200-day, and then we'd have full bullish alignment of the moving averages 8, 21, 50, 200-day. But again, really nice. We were talking about this 8-day consolidation, broke out of above it, tight day, and then falling through today, and just so close to new all-time high close. Take a look at the weekly. Again, looks really good. Not a whole lot to comment. Um, any pullbacks into the 6,021 day as a bull, we want to see hold. RSP looking to break out of this consolidation here. Looks great. QQQ, again, another new all-time high close for this one. And, said this 7-8 day consolidation handling after this cut base. Broke out, tight day, followed through today. And, 54.81 was that previous left side high. So bulls continue to stay strong. That level should be supported. And again, weekly had that 3 weeks tight breaking out here. Yeah, the Nasdaq looks great here. Mag 7 seeing some money flow into mega caps again, continued higher out of this consolidation. Dow Jones Industrial Average finally back above the 200-day and continuing higher. Mid caps, good to see here. So, some analysis on this is that if mid and small caps get into gear, that should only bring even more strength into the market. They've been lagging on a relative basis, but this is a good technical setup, breaking out of this, flag, Darvis box, whatever you want to call it, back above the 200-day moving average. This looks good here. Russell 2000 rallying back up into the 200-day as well. And if this can break back through, get back above 2,200, it'd be a great sign for the market. Kind of talked about this inverse head and shoulders bottoming pattern as well, and now like kind of starting to break through the neckline here. So, small caps lag, but when you get that burst of outperformance, which happens, has happened here, happened here, like it does happen. And when that happens, you tend to see a lot of strength, a lot of follow through in stocks, growth stocks specifically, and leaders. So that's what we're watching. PCE is tomorrow morning, so that could be a catalyst for that. ARC continuing higher, short term a little bit extended, but again, Kathy, has some good holdings in the ETF. ARC's another good proxy for risk on growth stocks, and this is an uptrend. FFTY, big upside reversal. And yesterday, there was a handful of these outside reversal days across the board. And, sometimes when you're just in an uptrend, trust your stop. One candle does not make a trend. And although some things had some ugly candles, just got bought up right away. And I'm gonna talk about this when I get into NBIS later in the video as well. But again, one day never makes a trend, held the 8 EMA and moving higher. And that was a similar chart setup we saw on a lot of names yesterday. VIX continues to leak lower, sub 18. This has room down to, 12, 14. We've seen it before. The dollar new lows here and continue and saw some strength in some commodities and precious metals again today. The dollar is in a falling knife right now. Gold hugging at the 50-day moving average right now. Gold stocks again undercut reclaim of the 21. Silver, nice move higher with the weakness in the dollar. Bitcoin looks really good. Just been moving sideways. Looks poised to get back through this left side high, 61.75, equates to about 108,000 on Bitcoin spot, I believe. But again, consolidating after a big move up, forming a continuation base. This looks good for follow through, and we've been starting to see some life in some of the Bitcoin miners today. Irene's an example that's been moving, and sometimes those tend to lead the price of Bitcoin on the way up and the way down. Bonds continuing higher. TLT as well. That means rates coming lower, breaking the 50-day moving average. Same with TNX, and that's good to see for rate sensitive sectors. Regional banks were up on the day today, back above the 200-day moving average. Um, Home builders, ITB, again, nasty chart, but again, starting to show some signs of bottoming. It's got a power three setup here with the 821.50, and this is in a it's got 25% away from the 200-day moving average. XBI, another rate sensitive sector. So, below the 200-day, but showing signs back above the 821.50, tightening in a range. So, with rates, with the TNX breaking the 200-day moving average, that could bode well for some of these rate sensitive names, sectors, especially IWM small caps. So, that is another scenario that we are watching. All right, that's the inter-asset correlation. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Um, so we got new sentiment readings today, and I always enjoy these. But AAII bulls slightly up to 35, 24 neutral, -1 on bears at 40, although bears are still high. There's a little political bias to AAII, so we pay a little bit less attention. But the big one was the NAM exposure index. So this was a 94 last week, and we were talking about, hey, like when this starts to get above 100, that could signal that potentially a pullback is coming. And my expectation was the market's continuing higher. I thought it would be higher this week, and it came in at 81.41. So to me, that's great for the bulls. Means the market continues to move higher. Exposure got lower, so that's good to see. And you know, in the agenda title, Q's at all-time highs and exposure is not at full. So that's good to see as a bull. News-wise, we had a slew of economic data this morning. Nothing groundbreaking moving the market. We had GDP, jobless claims, durable good. But tomorrow, PCE tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that. Thursday keys. What we were watching today, S&P versus 21 holding that, and that all-time highs just closed a hair below. Qs versus 21 holding, and then that left side high closed back above it again. And then the Russell above the 21 and slightly below the 200-day. Going into tomorrow, S&P versus all-time high, 6147. Qs versus the all-time high in that 8 EMA if it pulls back. And then the Russell versus 21 and the 200-day tomorrow. Day count up 1, 4 days above the 8, 44 days above the 21 EMA. Sectors wise, pick was good. There was some strength in copper today. I'll cover that in the charts. Uranium was strong again as well. CCJ has been leading the charge on that one. Regional banks with rates pulling back, seeing some strength. Tech and then semiconductors continue higher. Weakness, natural gas, real estate, Bitcoin, gold. GROTECTION today, no changes, 1.31 beta, 6.14% open heat. TurboTection today, bought ALAB, 1.44 RVAB, 5.75% open heat. Bottom line, trend update and new all-time high for the Nasdaq. That is some good stuff. All right, let's take a look talk about some trades. ALAB. We took a starter. We bought this one in TurboTection today. Semiconductors have been showing a lot of strength. This undercut and reclaimed, this undercut this base low, found support at the 200-day moving average and powered through the 821 today with volume. And semiconductors, one of the best places in the market right now. When you got Nvidia hitting new all-time highs, that's bullish for the sector. And ALAB is coming up the right side quite nicely back above the 200 day. And I've talked about this before, 3 weeks tight off the 40-week moving average. I've found that to be a spot where institutions accumulate. And like the story on ALAB, good numbers, I mean, extremely explosive, triple digit sales, triple digit earnings. And if this takes out 100, we'd look to potentially add even more onto the position. So good action there. Oh, and then copper. Copper, big day for copper. CopX breaking out of a huge base. And if we've learned one thing in the past 2, 3 years, don't underestimate commodities when they break out of big bases. Gold is the perfect example. So copper is immediately on our radar. Big gap up today, up 6%. It's Copper Miners ETF, and then look at FCX breaking out of a big base through above the 200 day. You have SCCO coming out of a huge base and the 200-day moving average. You have tech, again, coming into the 200 day. So, definitely some nice looking names in the sector. So we're going to be keeping an eye on them. Alrighty, let's take a look at 21 over 21 list name. And I want to talk about MBIS and why it's always important to have a plan and to follow your plan. And because this looked like an ugly day yesterday, which we owned it, gapped up, closed the day red. But again, never touched our stop, closed right at the 8 EMA, and just followed the plan. And today it's firing back up 8.41% on the day. So again, I mentioned earlier, one candle does not make a trend, and just something kind of a reminder for us at Revere and anyone watching. So. Good action on MBIS leading the charge. Coinbase, skyscrapers, the volume on this one continuing higher. This is breaking out of a huge monthly base, and it's not even above 2021 highs. So again, if this is going to continue higher over the couple months, it should provide an opportunity, but huge volume, huge move, big catalyst. This one is on our radar. Spotify, GROTECTION owns this, another new all-time high close. Beautiful trend on this one. Tempest, this one's coming back into the 72 level. Continues to find support on the 21. So see if this one can break out. Light, another 52-week high here up the right side. This one looks good. CRDO continuing higher. They're breaking out of this base. Dash, another new high in this one. They had some news with drones for food delivery. Axon getting tight right at this 800 level. VST, utility names continue to act well, trending up the right side. Robinhood, no give back, just really nice trend, owned in both portfolios. Inside day looks great. PWR continuing higher out of this flag. GDX, reclaiming the 21 here. Palantir, inside day, continuing higher, nothing wrong with this chart. GEV, bounce at the 500 on the top of this mini base here. Again, nothing wrong with this chart. Zscaler continuing higher, acts really well. VEV flagging here off the 21 day. NVIDIA continuing higher, falling through 153. Net falling through. EQT, net gas play, pulling back to the 21. Tesla, some volatility here, sitting right at the 21 day. CoreWeave pulling back into the 21, see if it holds in that 150 spot. And that's the 21 over 21 list. Let's take a look at the Turbo 12. INOD, this is a computer tech name, starting to break out through 50 through this big base. Big base. See if it can start to break out. Dave, after that undercut and reclaim at the 21, just continuing higher, super strong. Again, model book earnings gapper. Sezzle, same thing, continuing higher. AAOI continuing higher above prior day highs. Lemonade, 2 day pullback into the undercut and reclaim of the 8 looks good. MP, little multi-D flag pullback to the 8 here. Oddity consolidating at the 21. Hinge Health, undercut and reclaim at the top of this base. Definitely a volatile name, but new IPO. Got the buzzword AI, health's another buzzword. Qubit, just consolidating above the 21. GH in this handle. KTOS had an offering today, but undercut and reclaim the 8 and sorry, the 21, this opened down 7%, closed the day down only 2.36%. And then LEU, this had a neutral from, I want to say JP Morgan. We own this in TurboTaction. We trimmed some, still holding some, and this was gapping down off the open. It was down like 16%, but found support at the 21 day and rallied back up into the close down slightly. But again, in a bull market, it also pays sometimes just be a little bit more patient with your names as long as it's not blowing through your stop. But our stop was around this 21 day, gave it some time, never really convincingly broke it hard, rallied back up into the day and closed nicely, only down 3%. Was on elevated volume. So again, 21 days a key line in the sand. But these alternative energy names, they're the number one industry group. CCJ is another one. Look at this. Uranium was strong again today. Another new high for this one. This one's got a big base. And this also fits the theme of, commodities breaking out of big bases. These can lead to big moves. I'll just bring up the gold weekly chart again. This is probably just a perfect example. Obviously extended now, but again, you kind of get the point. And we'll just take a look at the copper weekly too. So, it's been going sideways since 2021, essentially. So this starts to break out, I would imagine FCX, SCCO, those names start to work. Um, so yeah, that's the stock side. We'll just end it with the indexes. They're looking good. If we pull back, ADMA support 21, 6,000. See if this 50-day starts to get back through the 200-day and see how price reacts. If we can break through the 61.47 previous all-time highs, and PCE is tomorrow morning. Something to be on the lookout for. Um, and yeah, that's is gonna wrap it. As always, love to hear from you. You can email me at connor@revereasset.com. Reach out to me on Twitter at ConnorJBates _. Phone is 855 Real Wealth, 855-732-5932. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client, as always, please reach out. We appreciate all the support. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe, comment. We appreciate all the supporters and hope you guys have a great night. See you tomorrow.